Warning: you will be shocked by this video. Viewer discretion is advised. Hi, my name is Greg, and in just a second I'm going to reveal the exact steps that I took to drop over 70 pounds and a whopping 10 inches from my waist using a weird 90-second trick. And most importantly, I'm going to show you how you can do the same. And yep, you heard me right. I lost 70 pounds. That's the equivalent of 300 sticks of butter, or the average weight of an 11-year-old kid, or 100 cans of beer. Gone. Adios. Bye-bye. Never to see it again. And I did it all in just minutes per day. How did I do it? I used a secret weight loss technique that Dr. Phil has hailed as the most important innovation in weight loss in decades. I'd argue it's the most important fat blasting tool ever in history. But I'm a little biased because I've experienced how powerful and easy it is for myself. Oh, and for the record, I'm no freak of nature. I'm just a normal 45-year-old guy who likes to eat pizza, wings, and drink beer while watching TV after a long day at work. And I still do. In other words, if this thing worked for me, it can definitely work for you too. In fact, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, young or old, completely out of shape, or even if you have a medical condition, bad genes, big bones, or you're addicted to food. Bottom line is, if you've got fat that you want to permanently erase from your belly, back, thighs, and any of those annoying problem spots you have to deal with every day, hey, this is what you've been waiting for. And if you're thinking this is one of those extreme workout deals, hey, think again. You won't be twisting your body into a pretzel or bench pressing small automobiles or running 23 hours a day. This has nothing to do with any of that. Plus, if you love your food as much as I do, you'll be super glad to hear that you won't have to make any big changes to what you eat. You won't have to give up those burgers, fries, sodas, or sweet treats. This isn't one of those calorie-pinching, food-restricting, starve-yourself-till-you-pass-out diets. In fact, it's not a diet at all. It's a brand new way of thinking about fat that's 100% scientifically proven to work. It's already helped thousands of people just like you to lose up to and more than 20 pounds of pure fat in as little as 3 short weeks. To put that into perspective, that's the weight of a normal car tire. And get this, I lost the weight of almost 4 tires using this sneaky little fat melting tactic. But if you want to get thin and slim without all the hard work, you'll need to watch this short video all the way through to the end right now. That's because for reasons outside of my control, it looks like I'll only be able to keep this presentation up for less than 24 hours. So if you're ready to finally learn how to strip off those pounds and inches and keep them off for good, do yourself a big favor and watch the rest of this brief video. And again, I can't emphasize enough how this is unlike anything you've ever seen or heard before. Even some of today's top TV fitness gurus are totally in the dark about this. By watching this video, you'll be one of a very special few who are getting first dibs on this revolutionary new way to effortlessly wipe away fat from every part of your body. Plus, when you're learning the exact steps to lose all that weight, you'll also gain something that money cannot buy. I'll tell you more about that in just a bit. The craziest thing is that even if you think you've tried every way to lose weight before, you're going to be shocked by what you learn here today. That's because it's actually the complete opposite of what you've been told in the past. The opposite? That's right. This technique turns traditional weight loss systems on their head, and it throws everything you thought you knew right out the window. And best of all, this one technique does something that all those other so-called weight loss systems don't. This actually works. Imagine that. A way to burn fat, drop pounds and inches, and keep the weight off forever. A way to get healthy without hours in the gym, fear of injury, or any of those crazy diets. A way to look and feel great that allows you to lose 10, 20, 40, or even 60 pounds or more, quickly, easily, and all from the comfort of your home. So before I dive into the really good stuff, I have a couple of quick questions for you. First, do you think discipline and willpower are important to losing weight? If you're like most people, you probably immediately answered yes, even those so-called experts would tell you you can't lose a pound of weight without either of these. But guess what? That's totally wrong. And it's the very reason why all diets fail. You see, when you go on a typical diet, what happens? You have to totally change what you're eating, how much you can eat, and when you can eat. Sure, maybe you can handle this kind of change for a little while. You muster up as much willpower as you can and fight the urges every day. And yeah, you'll probably lose some weight, but sooner or later, you'll give in. Maybe it starts with an extra snack here or there, and then a binge day. And then before you know it, you're back to where you started and have gained a few extra pounds. Talk about adding insult to injury. You see, it's natural for your body to crave food. It's what keeps our engines running. So to try to use the power of your mind, no matter how mentally tough you are, to restrict what you're eating is, well, it's unnatural and unsustainable. If you want to lose weight and keep it off for life, you need to take a totally different approach. The key is to make your food work for you. That's right. When you know how to eat the right way, it only takes minute changes to turn your food into fat blasters. I'll tell you more about this in just a second, but it's really amazing. So in the meantime, just start picturing how awesome it's going to feel to be eating a burger and knowing that it's helping you burn fat. I told you this was unlike anything you have ever heard before. Okay, here's the next question. Do you think you have to work out for hours every day to lose weight? Again, most people think workouts, especially long, hard ones, are the only way to really burn fat. But guess what? That's simply not true. Those grueling workouts can actually slow down your body's fat-burning ability. Again, more about the science of this in a moment. But the good news is there's a way to hotwire your body's natural response to stress. You can exploit your body's natural defenses to totally amp up your fat-burning potential. It's quick, it's easy, and it's 100% effective, if you know how to do it the right way. Thankfully, that's exactly what I'm about to reveal to you during the rest of this short video. But first, I want to tell you a wacky story. Look, I'm sure you just want to get your hands on the easiest way to melt away belly fat using this strange 90-second trick, right? I'll tell you everything you need to know in a moment, but this quick story will demonstrate just how amazingly effective and simple this technique is, and I'm certain it'll inspire you to take action today. So, there I was, 70 pounds overweight. My pant size had jumped from a respectable 32 to a whopping 42 inches. And if I'm being totally honest, I really should have been wearing a 44 or a 46, but I couldn't admit to myself that I had gained that much weight. So I wore my pants low and was constantly sucking in my gut. I was embarrassed, uncomfortable, and even though I'm a guy, I felt unattractive. My clothes didn't fit. I felt old and achy, and my back hurt all the time. For a long time, I tried to convince myself that I hadn't really gained that much weight, but mirrors and photos, they don't lie. I was disgusted with who I saw staring back at me. In the past, if I gained a few extra pounds, I just hunkered down, did a few extra workouts, cut back on the number of burgers I had, and before you knew it, I was back down to my fighting weight. But when I started gaining weight this last time and tried that approach, I was sadly disappointed to discover I just couldn't lose the weight like I used to. So that's when I started trying real diets, a bunch of them, but I just couldn't stick with them. And worst of all, with all the yo-yo eating and starving, then binging, I gained another 40 pounds, all while I was supposed to be losing weight. Talk about a bummer. If you're struggling with your weight, I'm sure you can relate. I've talked with hundreds of people, men and women all over the world, who have had this exact same experience. So here I was feeling awful about my weight, unable to stick to a diet, gaining pure fat even though I tried everything. I felt discouraged, depressed, and frankly hopeless. That's when I put on the last 20 pounds. I thought, hey, if I'm already fat, I might as well eat that whole pizza or supersize my fast food meals. It didn't matter, right? My yearly visit to the doctor told me otherwise. My blood pressure had skyrocketed. My cholesterol was a mess. And because of my family history, my chance of having a heart attack had gone through the roof. My doctor said I had to lose weight or else. Rather than being a wake-up call, I was more discouraged than ever because I knew I didn't have the willpower to lose the weight. I hadn't been able to do it before, so why would now be any different? What I didn't know at the time was that my inability to lose weight, to stick with a diet, to keep the weight off for good, was not my fault. It was actually totally natural. To understand what I'm talking about, we need to take a quick look at what most diet and exercise programs are made up of. Even though most diets out there sound different, when you really look at them, they're all pretty much the same. First, you go exercise for 30 to 60 minutes a day. Then you eat way less or way differently. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? Yeah, but there are two big problems with every diet out there today. One, the human body isn't meant to be inactive all day long and then work out for 45 to 60 minutes. And two, your body wasn't designed to go from eating 3 big meals every day to eating tiny portions. See, when you stress your body out like this from lack of food and too much exercise, your brain thinks you're in danger. And when your brain thinks you're in danger, it goes into a survival mode to protect you. And part of that means it starts storing fat rather than burning it. If you were living in the wild, this response would make total sense. You're stressed out. Your body doesn't know when it's going to get fed again. So it stores up fat so you have it when you really need it. But when you're trying to lose weight, it's a real buzzkill. Because instead of burning fat while working out, your metabolism slows down and you can even gain weight. And I don't need to tell you that that fat adds up fast. Think working out harder will do the trick? Well, think again. The harder you work out, the slower your metabolism can get, and you'll be left scratching your head wondering why you're not losing any weight, even after hours at the gym. So, what can you do? Let's get back to my story to find out. So here I was at the end of my rope because I was afraid that I'd just keep gaining weight and eventually die. I didn't have any faith that I was going to be able to change what I was doing and lose weight. It was a pretty rough time, and I knew I needed help if I had any chance of success. And that's when I remembered my good friend, Dr. Frank Lawless. He's a best-selling author and psychologist for Mensa, that society for super-intelligent people. He also happens to be on the Dr. Phil show, too. Since he's an expert on behaviors and psychology, I decided to give Frank a call. I asked him straight up, what's the best way for somebody to change their behavior? And I'll never forget what he said. You have to make tiny adjustments. Any major changes won't stick. So, in the case of diet and exercise, if you make a big change, it'll cause your body's automatic fight or flight response, or survival mode we just talked about, to kick in. What Dr. Lawless told me made a lot of sense. It helped me understand why all my diets had failed, because they all required such massive changes. But it didn't help me to know what to do to lose my weight now. For that, I decided to call my friend and fitness expert, Michael Carson. I asked him, Michael, what's the most effective way to exercise? And guess what? Michael pretty much echoed exactly what Dr. Lawless said. He said that short bursts of activity were the best way to lose weight, gain muscle, and improve endurance. He told me that some of the most successful athletes, including gold medal winning Olympians, use this technique to perform at the highest levels. Why in the world had nobody told me about this before? The more I talked to Michael, the more I was sure he was on to the missing link for weight loss. For example, he told me that if I did a very specific set of short bursts of activity, especially right before eating, I could totally ramp up my body's fat-burning metabolism many times more than any other kind of exercise. They had to be these exact movements, but if done correctly, they'd work miracles. He explained the science of it, something about aerobic versus anaerobic exercise. But what I took away was short little bursts of exercise, like 45 to 90 seconds, totally supercharge your metabolism. If you supercharge your metabolism right before you eat, it turns your food into energy rather than storing it as fat. He explained that this kind of metabolic momentum is the key to melting away pounds and inches of pure fat. In addition, he told me that an improved metabolism just makes your entire body more efficient at burning calories, regulating hormones, and creating overall balance. Now, fast forward. I followed all of Michael's instructions to the letter. Many of the very same secret techniques he uses with his celebrity clients, which include Paula Abdul, Carmen Electra, and Body by Jake. And after 2 years of doing exactly what he showed me, I lost 70 pounds and 10